next book victim will be Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. And while I work on the design, I want to talk to you about Seneca, who Seneca is, because he was a very important person in history, and he played a very important role in the Stoic philosophy. But Seneca was born in around 4 BC. And I think it's important to note this date because historians claim that Jesus was also born at 4 BC. So we people love seeing correlations in the timeline. So just putting it out there. Seneca is often criticized a bit because he mentored an emperor whose name was Nero. And according to many historians, Nero was one of the worst. But if you look at the Roman history, there were not a lot of good emperors. So that's given Nero a very bad title. Where Seneca gets involved is that he was Nero's mentor for a very long time, and that creates a lot of suspicion because aren't you a Stoic? Aren't you supposed to stand for things that are good? Seneca was kind of involved in trying to fix the mess that Nero left. So Seneca will talk to the Senate, he will draft letters, he will just try to convince or try to find an explanation, but he wasn't even aware of these situations. But just putting it out there why Seneca gets sometimes thrown hate at because of that correlation with Nero. But luckily for us, Seneca left Nero. He retired. He was like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. And he finally decided to study. He wanted to focus on working on philosophy, writing letters. He started all of this. He started sharing his philosophy, questioning his philosophy, many things that he gained a lot of popularity in his time. He gained a lot of popularity. People started loving him. People started listening to him. Seneca will cover topics about detachment, acceptance, and more importantly, death. He seemed to talk about death, love to question it, and in a way he started to just put it out there that death is important for all of us. It's important to accept it. It's important to embrace death because according to his philosophy that if you don't embrace death, you are not embracing life because they come together. He himself faced respiratory illnesses, so many historians claim that it was asthma, but it's not sure because it was a long time. In a very way, he became a very well-known philosopher. He became a very respected individual. He became pretty wealthy as well. People criticize him for that as well. But according to Seneca, he says that it's not that you have money or not, it's that you don't get attached to externals. Don't get attached to externals because that is going to make you the perfect slave, if you ever put your faith on externals. Everything that he said kept on bringing him more popularity, which became a threat for Nero, especially in around 65 AD. There was this conspiracy theory called the Pisonian conspiracy against Nero, where people wanted to take Nero down and replace him with a new emperor. And the conspiracy said that the emperor they were thinking of was Seneca. He was one of the potential ones, but Nero thought that Seneca was involved. Again, there's no evidence if Seneca was involved or not in this theory, which is why it's called a theory. But Nero demanded Seneca to take his own life. So Nero said, you know what, Seneca, you gotta die today. You gotta do it, And Seneca's response was a very Stoic response. He accepted it. He was there for it. He committed suicide because Nero ordered that. He'll be very specific here and very graphic here, so if you want to skip this part, you're more than welcome. But what Seneca did was he started by cutting his veins open, and since he was very old, he couldn't bleed that fast, so everything was taking way slower than he thought it would be. However, let me mention something before I move on. He did all of this while his people were watching, while he was teaching, while he was giving his last lecture. He started teaching about his own philosophies. He was just having a normal lecture while he was killing himself. But number two, since that didn't work, since he was bleeding very, very slow, he started to drink poison. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna drink this because that's gonna speed up the process. But guess what? He is someone very, very strong. I don't know about his system, but that didn't work either. And he was like, you know what, I'm going to get in a hot steam bath, where I'll just suffocate to death because I already done so much to myself. I'm gonna speed up the process. Of course, his wife was watching. His wife wanted to join him, like, hey, don't leave. And that's how he eventually died. There's a famous picture of him just in the bath, just dead, that symbolizes the end of Seneca, but the beginning of Seneca's philosophy. That's where he was able to pass the ultimate test of just living through your philosophy. And like Seneca once wrote, he says, therefore, whenever his last day comes, the wise man will not hesitate to meet death with a firm step. And he did. He did. He followed his teachings. He showed his teachings. He showed up for what he believed in. And it says a lot about the kind of philosophy he left behind. The philosophy that still remains through this day through Stoicism. And with that being said, I think I'm ready to just honor this book, give this book a new cover, and show you the final reveal of Seneca letters. Hopefully, we're able to appreciate Seneca in different ways and see Seneca for who he really is. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next to talk about a very impressive Roman emperor. Because not all of them were bad, most of them, but not this one. Bye-bye.